good evening to Madam and also my friends. Today we are going to present our case study regarding executive compensation at General Electric. We are from Group 7. Myself, I'm Shaharupa. My friends are Krishna Kumari, Aina Afrina, Uma Mageswari, and also Shukri. Okay, so now I'll pass to the first presenter to present the first slide. Thank you.
Okay, good evening. Okay, the first question is about what is the key part to recognize the different part of the pay scheme. Okay, to maintain a pinnacle leaders, incentives are given to them to live with the corporation of the extended period of time. GE gives restrained inventory device to its people who always carry out nicely so that it will create structurally incentive to preserve the success. This is support to elegant executive goals with the investors, long time period goals as this incentive will be best supplies to personnel who live for a prolonged period of time. Okay, the second point is the employee at GE also are given inventory alternative and fairness appreciation rights. They deliver them as a long time period incentive for his her executives to preserve overall performance because they are supposed to be split if the government quits earlier than they run out to be abusively escalable around 5 years after insurance. GE supplies alternative and inventory appreciation rights that may be exercised through GE as a long time period incentive to keep overall performance. Employees who have been with the organization for extra than 3 years may be compensated. Compensation may be supplied if three goals are met. The three holds the aim and the maximum. Each aim is described for four criteria: common income according to the proportion increase rate, common sales increase rate, cumulative coin rate, and common go back on overall capital. GE additionally wants that if an employee's employment is terminated because of a handicap earlier than December 31, 2005, the award may be rewarded. My last point is employees may be endorsed to be extra effective for you to assist the corporation development. GE additionally gives every year incentive to personnel who offer extraordinary effect as a praise for his or her efforts. As the result, we understand that GE will pay its personal reimbursement and every year bonus primarily based on the totally on their overall performance and to compliment them for his or her effort with inside the month of February. The next slide is one of my group member will explain.
Okay, thank you, presenter. Okay, now I would like to present my part, which is evaluate each of the GE compensation tools separately, listing the pros and cons for salary, bonus, long-term incentive plan, uh, performance share unit, restricted stock units, and also stock appreciation rights. Okay, now we will go for the first one, which is salary. Salary is a recurring payment made by an employer to an employee for labor that can be stated monthly or annually, but is most typically paid monthly, particularly to white collar employees, managers, directors, and professionals. A salary employee, often known as a salary employee, is given a set monthly pay. A salary is a recurring payment made by an employer to an employee for a labor that can be stated monthly or annually. A salary employee, often known as a salary employee, is given a set of monthly pay. Okay, the first one for the pros is recruit and maintain exceptional leaders, and the second one is employees receive a set amount of money each month. Okay, and the cons is to make a wage structure desirable, extra benefits must be provided. Okay, the second one is bonus is an additional payment or monetary component given as a reward for performing well at work. The employee's compensation is generally accompanied with a bonus. It is an expression of the organization's gratitude to its personnel. GE provided a pay for continuous performance throughout the year and a bonus in February for the previous year's performance based on an appraisal of each executive individual success. Okay, the pros of a bonus is reward great achievement, stimulates hard work, increases
Astaghfirullahaladzim.
employee loyalty, and also brings satisfaction to employees. The cons is staff to administrate expected regardless of earnings. Okay. The next one is a long-term incentive plan, which is called LTIP. Is a deferred pay technique that helps organizations retain valuable employees by rewarding them for achieving certain performance targets. The firm's goals, which are deemed critical to the company's performance, may or may not be linked to the price of a company's stock shares or the company's worth. A long-term intensive plan, LTIP, is a technique that helps organizations retain valuable employees by rewarding them for achieving certain performance targets. The firm goals, which are deemed critical to the company's performance, may not be linked to the price of company stock shares. An employee can receive an LTIP award of up to $18.3 million payable in 2006 if average earnings per share growth, revenue growth rate, return on total capital, and cumulative cash generated are met. Okay, the pros is the capacity to align the interests of award holders and shareholders, flexibility, minimizing expenditures and share dilution, and also favorable accounting treatment. The cons is financial services and company law, considerations relating to the law, taxes, corporate government governance and institutional shareholder influence and also structure to be used. Okay, the next one is performance share unit. PSU is the right to receive the value of one share of the company's common stock at the time of performance share unit vest, plus the option to elect to postpone receipt of that value ordinarily receivable upon the vesting of a performance share unit award. Jeff Immelt received $7.5 million performance share units (PSUs) in 2003, replaces 1 million stock options with a grand date value of $8,480,000 and $520,000 restricted stock units given in 2002. One share of GE stock was equal to one PSU. If GE's shareholder return reached or exceeded the 5-year cumulative total return on firms in the Standards and Poor's 500 stock index, half of the shares would vest in 5 years. 50% of the stock award is contingent on GE shareholders receiving total returns that are similar to or greater than the wider market. Okay, now we would like to look at the pros of PSU is offer incentive to shareholders, assist them in performing well so that their stock value rises. While the cons is dividend should not be paid, reinvested in the acquisition of further shares. Furthermore, employee pay in the form of stock appreciation rights, which is SAR, and connected to the company's stock price over a set period of time. Employees earn from SARs when the stock price of the firm rises, making them similar to employee stock options. Stock options and stock appreciation rights. SARs were a big element of GE's long-term executive remuneration package. Employee pay in the form of SARs is connected to the company's stock price over a set period of time. Executive to acquire one GE share at the market price on the grant date. Next, we like to look at SARS pros. The first one is additional compensation in the form of discounted stock purchases. Next, less expensive and easier for the firm than providing cash. And the last one is generates a new set of investors interested in purchasing the company stock. While this side cons as the value of shares or options is determined by the value of the company stock. Next, a drop in stock or prices might discourage employees and resulting in lower productivity. All right. The next is employee remuneration in the form of restricted stock units, which is called RSUs, is a type of stock based compensation. RSUs are limited for a period of time called vesting, which might last several years and during which they cannot be sold. Once vested, units are treated like an other share of corporate stock. General Electric GE issued restricted stock units RSUs to high performers on a regular basis rather than yearly options on NSAS. RSUs are limited for a period of time. Okay, and if the executive was still employed after the RSU limitations expired, he or she might swap one RSU for one GE share. The pros is employees can issue RSUs without diluting the share base. And employees can issue RSUs without diluting too. Okay, the next one is cons. Employees must stay for a long time to enjoy full advantages. It does not provide voting rights and unable to provide. Okay, and unable to provide dividends. And also the last one pros is option for a tax deferral. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.
So for the next part, I will tell you guys about issues and challenges related to create effective compensation scheme for senior executive. So first of all, what is executive compensation? So when evaluating an investment opportunity, executive compensation is an important factor to be considered. So executives who are improperly compensated may lack the motivation to act in the best interest of shareholder. So for the next part, I will tell you guys about the issues related to create effective compensation scheme for senior executive. Uh, Next slide, please. Okay, so for the issues, we got two issues here, which is SARS is a large part of GE's long-term executive compensation package, and the second one is GE has announced changes the compensation plan. So the first one is both option and SARS cost GE the same amount and provided the same benefit to its executive. So the rationale for using SAR for senior executive is explained in the GE proxy statement. So it do allow the company to deliver to the senior executive the number of net shares that will have been maintained if the senior executive had executed the equivalent number of stock option and sold enough share to meet the exercise price and withholding taxes. So for the second issues, it replaced 40% of the approximate value of new grants of option or SARs with RSU, which is restricted stock units. It might be given unit as a mechanism for the employer to give them the company share. So for the challenges, I will pass to Shukri.
Okay, so for the challenges related to create effective compensation scheme for senior executive, the first one is global economic environment, and the second one is to change the portfolio of business. So the explanation of global economic environment is they need to make the company leader have integrity, transparency, and corporate governance. And for the second one, the elaboration is in order to increase long-term investor value through better profit margins and higher returns on equity. Thank you.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I would like to present about how board of directors try to use compensation plans to create a long-term focus for senior executive. First of all, compensation can be defined as a monetary payment given to an individual in alternate for his or her services. In the workplace, compensation is what is earned with the aid of using employees. It consists of income or wages, similarly to fee and any incentive or perks that include the given employee's position. The key compensation goals of General Electric are to hire, motivate, reward, and retain executives who create long-term investor value. General Electric use variety of compensation elements to achieve the goals. First compensation element of General Electric is salary and bonus. Salary can refer as a form of periodic charge from an employer to an employee, which can be laid out in the employment contract, while bonus refer as a payment generally made to employees similar to their basic income as a part of their wages or salary. GE pays salaries that are designed to attract and retain superior leaders and pay annual bonus to reward exceptional performance. For example, General Electric paid a salary for ongoing performance through the year and paid a bonus in February based on the prior year performance of each executive. Besides that, GE used stock option and stock appreciation right as an element of compensation. Unlike stock option, SAR are frequently paid in cash and do not longer require the worker to personal any asset or contract. General Electric used stock option and stock appreciation right as a big part of its long-term periodic compensation package deal for executive. Both had the identical value to General Electric and the identical advantages to its executive. Besides that, executive also receive other form of compensation, including payment or earning from employee savings plans, defer compensation, and life insurance premium. They also were eligible to receive unreduced retirement benefit at age of 60 and with social security benefit at age of 62. That's all from me. I'm passed to the next presenter. Thank you.
Next, I will explain for the other two of the element of control, a form of stock-based employee compensation. It is a form of compensation issued by an employer to an employee in the form of a company shares. Employees receive restricted stock units via a vesting plan or staying with their employer for a specified period of time. RSUs incentive employees to stay with a company for the long term and contribute to its success so that their shares increase in value. Even though GE typically grants options and SARs annually, they also grant restricted stock option as a measure to keep performers on a regular basis to provide strong incentive for continued superior service. For example, if the executive was still working when the RSU restriction expired, he or she could exchange one RSU for one GE share. The executive received quarterly dividend equivalent payment on his or her RSU beginning with the grant date. For the last element of compensation is long-term performance award. Long-term performance award refers to a long-term bonus award under company incentive plan. As in effect from time to time, the long-term performance bonus within the meaning of section 4.5 of the company incentive plan as of the date of adoption of this policy. Long-term performance award entitles the recipient to cash or stock bonus as determined by the committee upon meeting the performance criteria outlined in the recipient's individual grant. This compensation element will be based on the achievement of company, subsidiary, and or individual performance factors, as well as any other criteria deemed appropriate by the committee. Every 3 years, GE made consistent long-term awards to select executive based on the achievement of specific financial targets. The compensation committee set 3 goals for each of the 4 metrics, all adjusted by the committee to remove the effect of the unusual events and the effect of pension on income. Each of the 4 metrics was equally weighted and payments were to be made if any of the 3 goals for any of the 4 metrics were met. Payments were to be prorated if performance fell short of expectation, if the executive employment was terminated for any reason other than disability, death, or retirement before the 31st December 2005. This award would be forfeited. That's all for me. Next, I will pass to the next presenter.
That's all from us. Thank you.